Hello everyone and welcome. Today we're diving into an analysis that many of you have been asking for, and it's all about Eyes Wide Shut. This Kubrick film is much more than just a cinematic piece. It's an esoteric maze filled with hidden symbolism and deep meaning. Throughout this video, we'll be exploring it from an esoteric perspective because, as some of you might know, Eyes Wide Shut is a work that can't be confined to just one interpretation. Kubrick's genius lies in his ability to weave multiple layers of meaning, connecting themes ranging from materialism and social structures to elite power and secret societies. This analysis is for those of you who have already seen the movie, as we'll be diving into its most hidden details, spoilers included. If you haven't watched it yet, I recommend you do so first, and then come back to this video with a clearer, enriched perspective. Eyes Wide Shut is a puzzle of artistic, philosophical, and mythological references, masterfully connected. And today, we're going to uncover those hidden connections. One of the central themes that Kubrick explores in Eyes Wide Shut is sex, but not merely as a physical act, rather as a universal force that permeates all levels of existence. Kubrick presents it from various angles, in dreams, fantasies, marital relationships, and crucially in the rituals of secret societies. Through this exploration, Kubrick highlights sex's role as a mechanism of control and power wielded by the elites. In psyche, esoteric tradition, sex is not merely a biological act, but a fundamental creative force that can connect the earthly with the divine. For Plato, sexual desire was a microcosmic manifestation of a macrocosmic impulse towards unity and transcendence. In other words, sex reflects the universal order, a principle of attraction, seeking unification and connection with the sacred. In the film, ritualized sex harks back to ancient esoteric practices, such as sacred prostitution, a tradition dating back to ancient Mesopotamia, seen in the cults of goddesses like Inanna, Astarte, and Aphrodite. These cults viewed sex as a divine act of creation and regeneration, an idea Kubrick uses to deepen the relationship between power and desire in the film. Throughout the narrative, Kubrick establishes that sex is not just a physical manifestation, but a form of manipulation and control used by the elites. In Eyes Wide Shut, sex serves a dual purpose. It bridges the sacred and the profane while acting as a symbol of both power and submission. Eroticism drives the characters, but it is also a tool by which the elites exert control, trapping them in an endless cycle of desire. One of the most powerful symbols that Kubrick introduces in Eyes Wide Shut is the Star of Inanna, also known as the Star of Ishtar or Venus, which appears early in the film disguised as a Christmas decoration. This symbol, visible around the 3-minute mark, is the first hint of the movie's esoteric undertones. Nana, the Sumerian goddess of love, fertility, and war, is linked to the planet Venus, the morning star, which was later syncretized in Christian tradition as Lucifer, the bearer of light. The presence of the Star of Inanna at the start of the film suggests that desire, power, and forbidden knowledge will be central themes. Venus, as a symbol of attraction and desire, represents both the pursuit of enlightenment and the potential for downfall. Kubrick uses this symbol to imply that desire is a potent force that can be harnessed by the elites to exert control over others. The film weaves together the themes of Venus and Lucifer to underscore the dual nature of desire. On one hand, it is a creative and unifying force. On the other, in the hands of the elite, it becomes a tool for manipulation and submission. The masks in Eyes Wide Shut are one of the film's most powerful and recurring symbols, used to explore the duality between appearance and reality, between what is shown and what is concealed. In the famous scene of the ritualistic sexual party, the masks hide the participants' identities, but they also symbolize the dissociation between outward appearances and inner desires. In esoteric traditions, masks are often used in rituals to allow participants to break free from social conventions and act more authentically or even uninhibitedly. However, in Eyes Wide Shut, the masks serve a different purpose. Rather than freeing the participants, The masks reinforce the idea of control. The elites do not break free from societal restraints. Instead, they hide behind these masks to exert their power, using desire and sex as tools of domination. Kubrick also uses the masks as a reminder that we all wear masks in our daily lives. The characters in the film, particularly the elites, hide their true desires and intentions behind a facade of civility. In this context, the masks symbolize the hypocrisy and duplicity that govern society, especially within circles of power. This scene clearly illustrates how the elites use ritual to control desire, with the masks playing a crucial role in this dynamic, emphasizing the disconnect between what is presented to the outside world and what is experienced internally. In Eyes Wide Shut, mirrors symbolize the reflection of both external and internal identity. Throughout the film, Kubrick uses mirrors to emphasize introspection and self-awareness. Each time Bill looks into a mirror, it offers an opportunity to witness his growing internal confusion and the duality of his character. On the surface, Bill appears to be a successful and balanced man, but his reflection in the mirrors reveals the dissonance between his outer life and inner desires. In esoteric traditions, mirrors are often seen as gateways to the unconscious. For Bill, each glance into a mirror is an invitation to look beyond his facade and explore the hidden truths about himself, truths that even he does not fully understand. The mirrors reveal that Bill is not in control of his life. Rather, he is being manipulated by forces beyond his comprehension. The film is filled with reflections and parallels. We see Bill repeating the same behaviors, seemingly trapped in a cycle he cannot break free from. The mirrors serve as a reminder that what we perceive is not always reality, and that the characters, particularly Bill, are caught in a world where their desires and fantasies are not as they appear. This distortion of reality becomes a recurring theme, as Kubrick suggests that the forces controlling the characters are both internal and external. The rainbow is a recurring motif in Eyes Wide Shut and serves as a key symbol that Kubrick uses to explore the illusion of transcendence. It appears in various scenes, from the dialogue with the two models at the party who promise to take Bill beyond the rainbow, to the aptly named costume shop, Rainbow Fashions, where Bill rents his mask to infiltrate the secretive sexual ritual. In esoteric traditions, the rainbow is often seen as a symbol of transcendence, representing a bridge between the earthly and the divine. The 7 colors of the rainbow are also linked to the 7 chakras, which correspond to different levels of consciousness. In the film, the rainbow becomes a representation of Bill's desire to transcend his mundane reality, to venture beyond the ordinary and enter a hidden world of mystery and power. However, in Eyes Wide Shut, the rainbow does not lead to transcendence, but rather to a world of fantasy and manipulation. Kubrick cleverly subverts the idea of genuine spiritual elevation. Instead of leading to spiritual liberation, the rainbow in the film symbolizes the trap of desire, a cycle of illusions that the elites use to keep both the characters and, by extension, society under control. What should represent access to higher knowledge is, in fact, a lure that pulls Bill into a realm where fantasy and reality are dangerously intertwined, and he remains unaware of the full extent of his entanglement. The scene in the mansion in Eyes Wide Shut is perhaps one of the most unsettling and symbolically charged moments in the entire film. Kubrick places the climax of the story here, where protagonist Bill Harford infiltrates a secret ritual hosted by an elite whose nature and purposes are veiled behind a facade of power and control. This sequence is not only crucial to the narrative, but also key to understanding the esoteric message Kubrick seeks to convey. The mansion used for this scene is Waddesdon Manor, a grand estate that once belonged to the Rothschild family, a dynasty surrounded by conspiracy theories regarding their influence over global finance and politics. Kubrick's choice of this location is deliberate, linking financial elites to the hidden powers that manipulate the fate of ordinary people. The mention of the Rothschilds is no coincidence. In the 1970s, they hosted lavish masquerade balls, many of which were rumored to involve esoteric rituals perfectly aligning with the atmosphere of secrecy and domination that Kubrick aims to depict in this scene. The sexual ritual in the mansion is not a simple act of indulgence. It is deeply ritualized and steeped in esoteric symbolism. The participants wear Venetian masks, robes, and follow a strict protocol, evoking ancient secret. Societies like the Mystery Circles or the Hellfire Club, where power rituals and secret initiations were central. The masks, while hiding identities, allow participants to engage in acts that starkly contrast with the civilized lives they present to the world. Far from a mere display of lust, this ritual channels power in a structured manner. With his usual mastery, Kubrick turns this setting into a space where ancient rituals are echoed, perpetuating the power dynamics of the elite. The film suggests that these modern elites are not so different from ancient ruling classes who held secret ceremonies to maintain their grip on power. In the mansion, everything is calculated and controlled, from the hypnotic chants to the ritual movements of the participants. These ceremonies channel sexual energy, not just for physical gratification, but as a means of manipulating and exercising control. The symbolism of the masks is particularly powerful. During the ritual, all participants wear masks, reinforcing the idea of duality and anonymity. Throughout the film, masks illustrate the separation between public identity and private desires. In this scene, the masks serve to highlight that the elites not only hide their true nature from others, but also from themselves, reinforcing a power structure built on secrecy and manipulation. At this ritual, Kubrick hints at how elites maintain their dominance over society. The participants, all belonging to the upper echelons, use sex as a tool of control and power. The ritual is meticulously designed with defined hierarchies and roles, suggesting that every detail, every movement, has a hidden purpose. The use of sex in this ceremony serves a purpose beyond carnal pleasure. It channels energy and reinforces the power dynamics among the participants. Additionally, the music accompanying this scene, an inverted liturgical chant, enhances the atmosphere of perverted sacredness. Kubrick uses this music to remind us that while what we are seeing is disturbing, it carries a ritualistic intent. This connects directly to the notion that ritualized sex is not merely a physical act, but an esoteric mechanism of power channeling. These elites are not mere agents of lust, but custodians of forbidden dark knowledge. Another significant detail is the participants' lack of emotional involvement, reinforcing the idea that this is not just a sexual event. The absence of emotion or attachment suggests that they are executing a power ritual, a mechanical ceremony, where everything is carefully calculated. The cold, controlled atmosphere contrasts sharply with the idea of chaotic lust. This meticulous control over the ritual strengthens the notion that what Kubrick portrays is not a simple sexual gathering, but a ritualistic channeling of eros. Kubrick also uses this scene to showcase Bill's isolation and vulnerability. In a room full of people, Bill feels alone and out of place. Although he believes he is witnessing something exclusive, he fails to realize that he is being manipulated by forces beyond his comprehension. The mansion and the ritual are not only a manifestation of the elite's power, but also a representation of the esoteric world Bill has entered without understanding its implications. Through this ritual, Kubrick suggests that the true nature of the elites is hidden, and their power lies in their ability to control what is hidden and forbidden. The use of the mansion, with its connection to the Rothschilds, reinforces this idea. The elites not only control the visible aspects of society, such as politics and economics, but also dominate deeper dimensions, those that are inaccessible to ordinary people. The ritual in the mansion is a metaphor for how these ruling classes use their esoteric knowledge to maintain their position of power. Kubrick shows us that these elites are not simply rich or powerful, but guardians of hidden secrets, secrets that cement their control over the world. Bill Harford's journey in Eyes Wide Shut can be interpreted as a descent into hell, where he confronts not only the external shadows represented by the elites and their rituals, but also the internal shadows of his own psyche. From the outset, Bill is portrayed as a successful doctor with a seemingly perfect life. But as the film progresses, it becomes clear that he is deeply disconnected from his true nature. Bill's real enemy is not the hidden elite, but his repressed desires, insecurities, and materialism. He is drawn into a cycle of lust and jealousy, and his failure to acknowledge these impulses leads him into increasingly dangerous situations. Kubrick shows us that the forces truly controlling Bill are not external, but lie within his own psyche. Throughout his odyssey, Bill confronts his own dark desires, but never reaches a true understanding of his situation. While he appears to be making choices in reality, he is being guided along a predetermined path by his own unchecked impulses and desires, which he fails to fully comprehend. Ultimately, Eyes Wide Shut is a film about the power of desire and how it can be used to manipulate people. Kubrick reveals that those unaware of the esoteric forces governing their lives are doomed to be controlled by them, both by external elites and by the internal forces they fail to understand. Since its release, Eyes Wide Shut has sparked countless alternative theories regarding its meaning and symbolism, many of which focus on the hidden power and elites that Kubrick portrays in the film. The enigmatic nature of the plot, esoteric symbols, and character ambiguity allow for multiple interpretations that go beyond the surface narrative. One of the most popular theories suggests that Eyes Wide Shut is a veiled critique of the rituals and practices of global elites, particularly in relation to secret societies. The film shows Bill Harford, a high middle-class doctor, witnessing a ritual ceremony organized by an untouchable elite who use sex, power, and secrecy as mechanisms of control. The inclusion of esoteric elements like Venetian masks, ritualistic gatherings, and the sex mansion, linked to the Rothschild family, has led many to believe that Kubrick was exposing the dark, hidden aspects of these elites. This theory is reinforced by the real-world context of the film, with the mansion's location connected to powerful historical figures. The connections to the extravagant masquerades organized by the Rothschilds in the 1970s, and the subtle references to the secretive practices of Scientology, of which Tom Cruise was a member, fuels speculation that Kubrick was revealing practices of powerful families and influential organizations. Another interpretation delves into the theme of mind control, particularly in relation to large-scale manipulation projects like MKUltra. This theory gains traction because of Nicole Kidman's father's involvement in studies related to this project in Australia. According to this perspective, Eyes Wide Shut portrays how elites not only control political and economic power, but also dominate the mental and spiritual realms of society. By entering this dark world, Bill becomes a pawn manipulated by higher forces. The use of masks and the ritualistic environment is also interpreted as symbols of mind control and dissociation from reality. The characters, while participating in sexual acts and rituals, seem to be in a trance, suggesting they are being controlled or manipulated by superior forces. This interpretation points to the idea that elites not only control what is visible, but also exert their power over the subconscious mind of the masses. One of the most intriguing theories posits that Stanley Kubrick used the film as a warning or revelation of hidden truths about the elites, which may have contributed to his death. Kubrick died just days after delivering the final cut of the film, which has fueled theories that his death was no accident. Some believe that Eyes Wide Shut exposes secrets that certain powerful organizations did not want to be made public. This theory is supported by the belief that Kubrick, being a perfectionist with access to insider knowledge through his connections in Hollywood, was trying to reveal something deeper about how the world works. The film's heavy use of symbols and references to elite power, hidden societies, and secret rituals suggests that he was attempting to unveil a reality beyond the surface. Another esoteric interpretation of the film focuses on the use of sex as a tool of manipulation by the elites. Throughout the film, sex is portrayed not just as a physical act, but as a means of power and control over the characters. This manipulation extends beyond the elites and touches characters like Bill, who is constantly tempted and forced to question his life and choices due to the sexual temptations he encounters. Ritualized sex, much like in the ancient cults of Inanna and Astarte, is presented as an esoteric force capable of both destruction and transformation. In this sense, the control over sexual desire is used to manipulate the characters, leading them into a spiral of confusion and loss of identity. For Kubrick, this force seems to reflect how elites control the basic instincts of people to maintain their grip on society. Some critics and esotericists interpret Eyes Wide Shut as a type of initiatory journey for Bill Harford. Throughout the film, Bill undergoes a series of trials and challenges that expose him to the darker sides of humanity and himself. These trials lead him on a descent into the hell of his own psyche, where he confronts his repressed desires, ambiguous morality, and emotional disconnection. Bill's journey parallels ancient rites of initiation, where the initiate must face their own darkness before reaching greater understanding. However, unlike traditional initiation journeys in Eyes Wide Shut, Bill does not seem to reach final enlightenment, but instead returns to the starting point, still trapped in a cycle of superficiality and materialism. This reinforces the idea that the film comments on the inescapable power structures that govern our lives. Finally, an alternative theory explores the use of mirrors and masks as symbols of duality and deception. The characters in the film, particularly Bill and Alice, present a facade to the world that hides their true nature. Mirrors reflect an internal identity that differs from what the characters project outward. In this sense, the film critiques contemporary society, where everyone wears a mask to hide their true desires and motivations. The use of masks in the secret ritual is also interpreted as a metaphor for how elites hide their true faces while manipulating the fate of others. The masks allow the participants to perform unspeakable acts without the moral constraints of society. Thus, Kubrick seems to suggest that we are all, to some extent, trapped in a world where masks and mirrors define our reality. In conclusion, Eyes Wide Shut is far more than a simple film. It is a deep dive into the hidden mysteries of the human psyche, power, and the elites, where sex, rituals, and duality play a fundamental role. Kubrick invites us to look beyond the surface and open our eyes to the uncomfortable truths that lie in the shadows of our society. The symbolic and esoteric richness of the film continues to generate theories and debates, making it a masterpiece that still resonates in the collective unconscious. If you are passionate about the mysteries of esotericism and want to keep uncovering hidden truths, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more fascinating content. See you on the next journey into the unknown.